Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, Craig here with another great business to discuss in this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guests are selling display advertising and Amazon Associates business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, and how are you both doing today?
Doing good, thanks for asking.
Doing good, thank you.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to talk more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of the business. So it's a display advertising and Amazon Associates business in the pet care niche created in August 2018. The average monthly revenue for the business is $9,441, and it makes an average of $9,398 net profit each month. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 49293 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, let's have a look at what's included in the sale. We have 2 domains, including all the site content and files, and social media accounts for YouTube and Twitter. Okay, now Alexander and Shelby, let's hear from the both of you. Can you tell us a little about your backgrounds in building and running online businesses?
Sure. So I've been building and running online businesses for approximately 3.5-4 years now, and we specialize in building content sites. We each take on different types of roles, but I'll usually take on the project manager type of role.
And then for me, I'm actually a copywriter. So my job typically revolves around creating copy if possible, depending on the subject and my experience and my knowledge on it. And then also I take on a really heavy editor role. So I tend to edit content if we do receive any of it from writers, and also publish it and get it looking the way it needs to be on the site.
Okay, excellent stuff. And how did the work that each of you do look for this business? So what was sort of your specific tasks that either of you done on this site for maintenance?
So I'll usually perform keyword research, competitor analysis. I'll also format and publish posts as well.
And then for me, if I'm performing maintenance, I'm usually in Google Search Console, kind of looking at different queries, different search terms, seeing how we can update an article, and then adding just fresh content or expanding on points we've already talked about, just kind of freshening things up a little bit that way.
Okay. And how did you both come up with the idea to start this business in particular?
Yeah, so we knew we wanted to create a content business after learning how kind of hands-off they can be. Granted, you have to definitely front load the work. But after realizing how passive, and especially if you focus on Google organic traffic, especially the staying power of some content, how really just in general, how passive it can be.
Yeah, and we also had like a list of criteria we wanted to hit as well. So we knew we wanted a content site, like Alex said, but we also wanted something that would be evergreen, that we would see pretty steady traffic month after month. We wanted something where people would be, as we like to say, kind of irrationally passionate about the topic, something where they would really turn to us for information because there was an emotional attachment. And we also felt like that would make them more likely to maybe come back if we gave them good information, considering the emotion behind everything. So we kind of just put those criteria in the forefront of our mind, and it kind of led us to the pet niche.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned about the sort of engagement from followers. What sort of engagement have you seen with the content that you've produced with your audience?
So our audience tends to engage with us through email, but also we receive a flood of comments on our posts. After our posts have been up, I would say for maybe, 2 or 3 months, and they've kind of marinated in Google and been able to rank, we tend to see a lot of comments come through asking for advice, everything from, help, my pet's doing this, what do I do, to help, I want to buy this for my son, where do I go? So we find that our audience really needs guidance in this particular area, and we definitely see that come through in the emails we receive and the comments primarily.
So in the emails you say you have an email list and you're sending marketing emails to that list at all?
So we actually don't do that, but we do have a contact form where our audience can reach out to us. So these are people who are specifically looking for ways to contact us, going through our site, and then taking it upon themselves to email us.
Okay, wow, that is really active engagement. So
Yeah.
I can see that this business earns from display advertising and Amazon Associates as well. So could you just talk us through what the split looks like for the revenue share to these monetizations and how they came about? Did you start with one or the other, or did you build them both at the same time?
So when we originally started the site, there was more of an emphasis on focusing on promoting products and being an affiliate and working with the Amazon Associates program. However, as we just gained more experience, we started implementing ads, and we discovered that we really enjoyed monetizing our website with ads. It was nice knowing that we were making money off of every visitor and that we didn't necessarily need to focus on selling products. And so that's kind of what it evolved in today. So I would say the revenue breakdown is approximately 80% display ads and 20% Amazon affiliate revenue.
Okay, sounds like you've got a great business here today and you've got a nice trajectory of earnings that show a nice increase. What would you say the reason for the increase in profits year on year, month on month?
I would say just our continued effort of growing and putting in more work into the website, ranking for more keywords as our domain becomes stronger, and targeting more keywords as well.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You've got a great business here. So how come you're selling it at this point?
So, as much as we really don't want to sell it because we are quite fond of it and we're really proud of what we've built, just personally, when it comes to real life, we're ready to buy a house. We want to take the next step in our relationship and kind of just experience that next chapter. But at the same time, like I said, we are so fond of the business that if we can't find a buyer who is willing to meet us where we need to be met to walk away, we're also perfectly fine holding on to the business, continuing to grow it, and really just making it even bigger than it is right now, and with the hopes of coming back in future months and relisting. But, again, if we can find the right buyer right now, we will walk away, sadly, from the business to kind of further our personal lives a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely does. Yeah, it'd be an exciting new chapter for you too. So if you were to continue entrepreneurship in the future, is there anything you learned from this business that you would apply to future sites or businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. So we really enjoy receiving the majority of our traffic from Google, and that's something that I think we'll continue with. We've gotten really good at understanding what it takes for a content website to be successful, not only from like content perspective and a links perspective, but just everything in general. So we would definitely continue building content sites.
Okay, and is there anything you tried with this website that didn't work out for you?
There's a search parameter in Ahrefs, and those unfamiliar with Ahrefs, it's like a keyword research tool that you can see how popular content is based off of the number of social shares. And we've tried to recreate our version of popular content in an attempt to make it go viral on various social media platforms. However, that proved to be unsuccessful.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. So in that regard, where does the majority of traffic come from for this website?
Through Google organic search.
Okay, and do you do any other sorts of marketing for this business at all?
No, we do very little in terms of marketing. The only thing we do is just publish content on a regular basis.
Okay, so if you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you would try and grow it?
So there's ways that we would continue from a content perspective, continue publishing new content, updating existing content. However, there are other ways that we can maximize revenue and add additional revenue streams. Some of those includes utilizing the second domain. It's a printing on demand website that holds some merchandise. Another way of growing the revenue would be to add affiliate links for a really unique affiliate-based relationship that we entered into. Another one would be to experiment with the type of ads that show on the website. The majority of the revenue is through display ads. However, there's other additional ad units that you could add, such as video ads and the interstitial ads.
Yeah, and just to add really quickly to what Alex said, so the affiliate relationship we have, they're actually one of the biggest, most respected vendors for the type of pets that we talk about online. And our audience oftentimes doesn't know where to turn in order to go about purchasing these animals. So this vendor is a really great source for that. And they have a great commission structure. They've got an 8% commission, and a lot of the animals can be very expensive. So we definitely want to start implementing links to them. And we feel that it'll be organic and natural through about maybe 80% of the content. It makes sense to have those links in it. So that's something we're just now kind of starting to put in, hoping a new buyer can take it over. Or like I said earlier, if we end up holding the site for a little bit longer, roll it out ourselves.
Absolutely, they sound like some fantastic opportunities. With the print-on-demand website that you mentioned, did it start to get any traction at all? Did you notice any potential there?
So we didn't have the opportunity to really implement it the way that we wanted to. We have some products for sale. However, we're in the process of trying to determine how to best funnel the traffic that we receive to our main website to this second print-on-demand website.
Okay, that makes sense. So what skills or requirements do you think there are for someone who is not familiar with this niche or business model?
So I would say there's definitely some skills required, primarily keyword research and competitor analysis, and determining, what's worth your time to pursue and see an ROI.
I would also say that just in particular to this business, you don't have to be an expert on the topics by any means, but you should probably take a little bit of time to at least understand the overall hierarchy and structure of the parent categories, the child categories, and kind of how everything supports one another. But it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's nothing a new owner couldn't figure out or have explained to them within probably 10 or 15 minutes at most. But that'll definitely help in terms of creating future content.
Absolutely. So what do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
So there's definitely some risks associated with the business because our main traffic channel is Google organic search. You're subject to potential algorithm updates that may negatively harm or affect the website. Another risk is Amazon changing their commission structure or eliminating their program altogether.
Yeah, that makes sense for the type of business model that you have. So overall, putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
So if I were a buyer looking to buy a content site, I would definitely be really interested in this business because at this point, the business is generating enough revenue that it can completely sustain itself. There's enough money to where a buyer should not only be able to afford multiple writers, which we actually have already set aside and vetted and ready to hand over, but aside from that, like an editor, there's enough money to afford an editor. And at this point, they could just kind of put into place some processes that makes it a really hands-off investment. Also, in addition to that, there are a lot of opportunities which we already kind of touched on briefly. And of course, we can expand on in greater detail in a call with a buyer, but there's a lot of opportunities for growth here. And they're very strategic, they're very actionable, they make sense. So there's a lot of potential in terms of growing the site without having to actually do a lot of heavy lifting at the same time.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. The growth opportunities for this business definitely seem to be strategic. It's not just random, that could be applied to any content site. So yeah, overall, a fantastic business. So regarding the sale of the business, would you commit to a non-compete?
Yes, absolutely.
And how much support are you willing to offer buyers? Are you going for the standard 30 days of email and Skype support?
So we're actually going to go above and beyond that. We're going to offer 60 days, primarily just because we feel it's only fair considering the asking price. But in addition to that, this is a business we're so proud of, and we don't want to just hand it off and, hope for the best. We want to actually be involved with the buyer and really help them through the transition period and help them understand everything that we think they should be doing to grow the business. So we don't mind being attached a little bit longer. So again, we're going to offer 60 days and at minimum 3 Skype calls, potentially more at our discretion.
Excellent. Yeah, that's twice the amount that's usually offered by sellers. So a potential buyer will really appreciate that extra support. So yeah, is there anything else you'd like to share that I might have missed?
So just one other thing we think might be helpful for any potential buyer to know is that while we're not looking for a performance-based earnout, we are willing to be quite flexible in terms of a payment plan. So something we've talked about with someone from Empire Flippers already is potentially receiving only a certain percentage of the money up front and then being put on a payment plan to help buyers better finance this purchase. And of course, that's something that we can, work through on a call in much greater detail with a buyer as well. But we're trying to be pretty flexible in terms of how a buyer goes about actually financing this purchase, because it is quite a bit of money and we understand that. And we don't want that to hold anybody back from purchasing a business that they can grow and be a great fit for.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very important for a potential buyer to know. So, yeah, thank you very much for your time, Alexander and Shelby. It's been great talking to you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 49293. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.